And we're live. Hello and thanks for tuning in. This is the SuperBoss Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Luc Tran, and I'm joined by my co-host, Harrison Ngo.
What up?
And Ian Eatwell.
Hey there, Luc Tran.
We talk about what's going in the nerd world, range from movies, comics, to video games. If you're a new listener, we'll start by talking about what we've been up to lately and any cool news we've heard before jumping into our main topic, which is about multiplayer games. But before we get into the main topic, let's talk about what we've been up to.
You should really join a improv group. You'd be very good at it.
Because I just straight man it.
That was so
You
smooth.
just jump
Holy
on
shit. I love it.
like you jump on the yes and immediately.
That was it. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to start. We're going to completely ignore that bit. I'm going to ask Ian what he's been doing first, because I know, Harrison, you've been playing the new Destiny expansion.
What do you mean?
Maybe. If you haven't, then I don't know what you're doing. But Ian, what have you been up to lately?
Dude, I've been watching so many things.
All the things.
Like all the anime. So I randomly came across a YouTube video that was I got I'll start you off first with I got into a YouTube like hole, a sinkhole, about like video essays over like movies and anime and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I came across
Explain what that means.
What means? Oh, video essays? They just like, if you haven't seen them, it's like they take like a movie, they watch it, right? And then they like break down the themes and the messages and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like an essay over some form of media, but in video format. And so I found one over Satoshi Kon, and it basically was like looking at all of his work, and I was like, this sounds really interesting.
And who
I'm
was
gonna
that?
start watching some of these. Oh my god, Harrison. Satoshi Kon is an anime director. Go look it up. People have YouTube, Harrison.
How do you spell that?
It's fine. Oh, you're really gobbling my gears.
Let's
yeah,
just think I'm asking for them. It's really from my...
Oh, well, listen in, Sonny, and I'll tell you how it is. No, yeah, so I I watched a series called Paranoia Agent. That was really weird and really cool. I like really weird things. It seems like so earlier I talked about how I started watching Twin Peaks and how the game Deadly Premonition's literally Twin Peaks, the game. Now I've found literally Twin Peaks the anime. I don't know what's happening. I think my life is a simulation.
You just need to find a Twin Peaks book, and then you're set.
At this rate.
I think I would move out to the woods and like become a hermit at that point, because somebody would be watching me. I guess that's already kind of normalized. Whatever. But yeah, so it's really good. It was really weird. And right. Yeah. So I watched that. That was good. Good recommendation. Then I started watching, because it's not finished yet. I watched Jujutsu
Kaisen?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Wait,
Kaisen.
You're
yeah.
watching that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Same.
It's got like really cool animation, and I really like the opening and endings.
Mm-hmm.
Are you current? Or either of you current?
Yes, I'm caught up to last.
I'm also current.
Hey, okay, cool.
Oh, Luke's watching it too? What?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I binged it all last week. Just to catch up.
Oh,
Nice.
I didn't expect either of you to watch it. What?
Really?
I'm very surprised. Well, no, because when I mentioned it before, you were like, "Oh, I heard someone talk about it. It doesn't sound good," or you didn't trust their anime.
Yeah.
choice,
Their
Yeah,
recommendations.
I do not believe in their recommendations.
which
but
I'm like, that makes sense.
my girlfriend, I think some people from my girlfriend's work were also talking about it. And so we decided to check it out, and we ended up really liking it.
So good.
Nice.
I like it a lot. It's great.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Because it's animated by the same studio, I think, that did God of High School. So the fighting is pretty.
Really?
I think so. I don't want to say
Interesting.
I'm mixing it up with someone else either, but
Yeah,
for
like
now-
Yeah,
I
I'll
I
look
think
into
it's really good now, but I'm also worried about how the pacing is gonna feel,
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I agree.
and just
Because-
kind of like general tropes, because
oh,
like they're leading towards the they're having, I guess, some school tournament arc,
mm-hmm.
and tournament arcs for me generally get kind of boring after like the second episode. But
Mm.
it's also so there's a trope called the Worf effect, which basically entails you establish this person as this super powerful, super amazing, super badass character, and they get defeated to show how dangerous this new threat is. And
Mhm.
already from the first episode, they establish
Gojo.
Gojo, who's
Mhm.
basically Kakashi,
Basically,
as
yeah.
this amazing, super powered, like once in a generation character. And I'm still not convinced the writing is going to have him be defeated in some way, and it's going to feel very cheap to me, because they've done a lot of work establishing him as kind of he's the big boy, and there isn't really anything that can contest him. So if/when he gets defeated or killed, it's just going to leave a sour taste in my mouth. But so far, the anime is just really fun to watch.
Man, I don't even think about that shit right now. Holy fuck.
I go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it definitely shows what I care about when I watch it versus Luke.
Mm-hmm.
But Luke, he likes the tropes a lot more than I, or he
Mm.
pays attention more than I do. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not deriding, like just watching it is amazing, but like after, like, because we basically binged it, I've had a few days just kind of sit and think of like, I
Mhm.
wonder what they're gonna do, because I'm not gonna read the manga for this one probably.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. If they yeah, with something like that, I feel like you have to be careful to like not do it in a way where it feels like it's cheap
Yeah.
or
Yeah, because like just the amount of power creep they've already introduced is kind of that's the limit. There probably
Mhm.
isn't anything more powerful than that.
But I know
domain.
one of my friends, she
Spoilers.
watched like the first 4 episodes or something, but then just ended up reading it. And at least for my expectations, she's like, "You'll like it." I was like, "All right, cool. That's all." Because I didn't
Yeah.
expect much from it either. I was just like, "All right, I just expect some good fighting," and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super great so far. Yeah, I can see like where you'd be worried about where it's going, but so far, like, and I was talking about it. I got recommended it. Like, the reason I started watching was because I got recommended by. You mentioned it, Harrison. Luke mentioned it, and then another person, mentioned it, and then I've just like seen a lot. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll try this out. So I was talking about Luke a little earlier, and he said it's funny. They have like, of course, the threesome characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
It was better phrasing. And Luke is like, it's like Naruto. I
Pretty
was like,
much.
as I was watching, I was like, holy
Pretty
shit,
much.
it is like Naruto. It's funny, but it's cool. What's the other thing I watched? I watched one more thing.
Did you watch Mandalorian yet?
No,
I'm not caught up either, but
Next week.
I just wanted.
Next week I'm watching. Well, we'll be on break next week, but the week after that, Mandalorian talk. It's good. I don't remember. I watched something else. It's probably not important. So, all the other stuff that I've been doing is just Hades, League, Magic. That's about it.
A little bit of Apex here and there.
Oh yeah,
Evil special.
You're right. I can't forget about Apex. I'm trying. I'm really bad at shooters, but I'm trying.
You fine.
What about you, Harrison?
Ah,
What you been up to, my guy?
Luke essentially was on a dot. Yeah, literally all I've been doing is playing Destiny the moment I get off work, and it's really bad. I'm like, wow, because I don't. I think it's just like the whole I want to prep for a raid, but
Mhm.
also I don't want to do it right away. Like I don't want to do it blind, and it's literally just like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for like a couple of our other friends do it. I've mentioned this before. They'll do it first day, and they'll come back later. I was like, cool. But yeah, no, it's because the new season dropped too. So there's like some more content now. Man, guys, there's actually story. Like they're actually explaining shit in the game, and not just like, oh, you have to read it from like the grimoire or like outside sources. And I'm like, this is it's just a
Oh.
weird thing. Like they explain the stranger way more. They give her backstory. They explain like what she's doing. I'm like, wait, it's so sad to play Destiny where I'm like, wait, this is crazy. I'm actually getting story. So it's, I mean, that's just how bad it was. Like, and no, I'm enjoying it just for what it is. And I mean, I think
Mhm.
the other thing was I didn't really have high expectations. So it was like one of our other friends, we would just sit there and one time we just did a mission and I'm like, wait, at the end we just expect like quick dialogue, then go back to orbit, and all of a sudden, wait, you have to divert to it. Wait, they're actually explaining what? And I think Ian sat in at one point. He just heard both of us like
Oh
just
yeah.
freaking out about it. And I'm like, that's pretty sad, but also just really good. I think that's just good. I'm like, all right, cool. That's like at least some direction. Like it's the right direction that they're going. Um,
Mm.
no, I think they made some tweaks to like certain game modes. Like yesterday, all we did was play Gambit for like hours because
Oh,
yeah, no, we
really?
played it for like 3 hours, I think. Well, one because
Like because you enjoy it, or because you had
one,
to?
well, I think he had to like complete one thing for like because we had each week you have to improve your stasis, and you have to do certain quests to like do so. So one, it's the nice part is that you have the
Oh.
option of how to do it versus before it was like, oh, like you had steps, but like for instance, one step was, oh, just fight in Crucible. Next step, oh, now I have to play Gambit. Oh, now I have to do certain things. Like now it's I think the nice part is they let you choose how you want to play, which I think
Oh,
is
cool.
important. Just 'cause I know some people there's like
So,
hmm,
do you like as you play, you unlock like different things in stasis?
yeah. So far,
Oh, okay.
right now I think it's just because it's like it just got announced or it just dropped. So right now we're doing like each week. It's kind of like Black Armory where you have to like do 2 a week of the
Oh.
trying to do. Well, I forgot what it was, but essentially you have to do 2 things a week and 2 bounties or
Mhm.
whatever it was.
Mhm.
I forgot. But yeah, so you have to do 2 quests a week, and then you just get the aspects, and you get to like essentially the cool part now is like you get to adjust how you stasis works for you. Like for instance, you can have little modifiers where if I once I get out of stasis, I'll have this amount of damage. And the cool part now is also they also either penalize or um improve your stats. So like for instance, if I chose this modifier, or choose this aspect, it could decrease my strength by 10. But that's like a choice. It's like, oh, if I want that, I'll choose that.
Interesting.
So stasis is way more customizable in comparison. So
Huh.
I'm enjoying it, and I mean, obviously, everyone that's all anyone is using is stasis right now because I mean,
Right.
well,
Of
that's
course.
also just like a lot of the quests drive you to like use it, and
Yeah. And it's like
I know
new.
some people like I've seen online where people are like, "Oh, it's so fucking broken," and they're like, "It's not fun." I'm like, "Yeah,
I've heard it's miserable in Crucible, like actually miserable.
yeah," and I
Huh.
don't know if that's coming from people that didn't get the expansion, because I feel like
Oh.
because if you don't have
Do you only get?
if you don't have the expansion, you don't get stasis. So
Oh
I get why
no.
All
there's
the
an
big
issue with that.
it may just be because I mean it was the first day, but all the big PvP people for Destiny were making some pretty big complaints about it. Which I mean I can like just thematically I can kind of understand because Stasis is like, I think like really the only hard CC you have in the game, and so it's just
versus like
not
ults
fun to play against.
versus yeah, and
It definitely changes the landscape.
it
of
does. I
How's the?
I was
Oh,
gonna
sorry,
say
go ahead.
I think I'm on like the less because I'm not a huge sweat when it comes to like probably PvP and like no like the people that Luke are talking about are like huge like they're
Right,
all they
right.
do is PvP.
Yeah, like it's their legitimate
Like,
job is to
they
make
just-
PvP
yeah.
videos.
So
Mhm.
I can totally get like playing for like that for hours is probably like upsetting. But
it's like the new Gambit where it's just like, this just isn't fun. We're doing it because we have to,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah,
Mm.
but I'm honestly every time we play, like me and the guys play, it's fun because it's just kind of like like it just adds a new element to me, and it also just to me changes it up to where now it feels more like a space shooter versus before it was like, oh, it's a shooter that has like some abilities, but now it's like, okay, this is just right now how I feel is just it's just fun. I'm having a lot of fun where I'm like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I guess I don't try as hard with that anymore. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I used to like get so aggravated with PvP because I'm like, oh no, I want to get good, blah blah blah. But I think now it's just like, yeah, it's whatever. So that's just probably my mindset now. That's probably why I don't care as much. And I'm just having more fun. I'm like, all right, this is cool.
So speaking
I'm-
about the new raid, are you gonna watch any of the raid content at all, or are you just gonna wait until they have like curated videos and curated guides at all?
I'll probably watch.
Because
I'll probably watch.
I remember when they did Garden of Salvation.
Mhm.
I remember there was a big deal about trying to get worlds first. I remember specifically Dado, because Dado's the only guy I watch for Destiny.
Yeah.
I think he peaked at like 91,000 viewers for that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be like part of that experience, or are you going to wait?
1,000? That's insane.
Yeah, he had 90,000.
That's
It was crazy. He had 90,000. His raid team took like a 15-minute break. They dropped to 60,000, and as soon as they started doing it again, they just went straight back up to 91,000.
That's insane.
Wow.
God damn. I mean, I might. I might just like tune in, but I think the hard part with that is like it would. Yeah, I might tune in, but at the end, I will probably just watch a curated thing because I want to do the raid too. So,
Going back to the stasis thing, I'm curious. How's the UI look for it?
oh,
In the
it's you know how there's
like
trees.
with all the other
Yeah.
abilities.
You know how there's trees.
Mhm.
Like that's gone. Like essentially, you just have like a block
Oh.
of like these are skills, and obviously, if they allow, you can tell like with the UI, they're probably gonna expand more on it. It feels like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because the way it works,
Okay.
like you have just your stasis tree, then you have your options for your class skill and your grenades, and the big
Mhm.
thing is that you have aspects that those are the customizable things about stasis you can add,
Yeah.
and it's just like a little box underneath the main tree.
Yep. Yeah. Then there's one on the
Okay.
side too. I forget what those are. There's like two things. So it's like aspects and then something. So I probably am mixing it up too with the quest I'm talking about. But yeah, no, it's way more customized. Like,
Cool.
because that was the whole issue.
Do you like it? More?
I love it. I want them to do this for the other class. I want them to let me like mix match what I want and like just play like for instance like solar. I just have different types of melees or like all that stuff and just combine. Because like the whole thing thing
interesting.
with the,
So they left.
yeah.
They left those classes the same. So all that
they
normal,
said
but
they
then
said they
stasis
weren't
is
going to
like its
touch
own
that
thing.
right away because they want to figure out if stasis is good. Like they said it straight up, they're like, we want to
Makes
play around
sense.
with stasis to see, and then later down the line probably revamp the other three classes. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But then like
That's
the
cool.
great other fun part is now like playing it more. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna add 2 more classes. Like we've talked about this, I think last week or something, maybe. But they're definitely like leading to it. The selfish part of
Ooh.
me is like I want it now, and but I have a feeling they're just gonna drop a class each
Like
expansion
with each
Yeah,
expansion.
Yeah, because that's like the whole trilogy. So we'll see. But now I'm having way more fun with stasis, a lot more than I expected.
Hell
Because
yeah.
I was expecting, I'm like, all right, it's just a lot of freeze, but it is, but it's just the play style is so different. Not super different, but it just feels fun, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, from all the stuff that I've seen, it looks like it changes. Like, so much of the interactions are so
Yeah.
different from what, like, normal or regular Destiny 2 has been.
and I guess like the other thing is like, for instance, I don't know if you guys saw the meme, but essentially there was a Titan that was doing like the like arc thing where he's flying through the air and he's about to like crash down on people, but then he gets frozen and he just like falls to the floor. And people are like, "Wow, this is how Destiny's going. It's
no.
pretty shit." I'm like,
It's definitely like stasis is the anti-fun weapon.
"Yeah," but then but I think there's some other
The
YouTubers
blue-black
I watch that are
control
like, it's anti-fun until like you do it too, and you realize, oh, it's just as fun.
Yeah, like it's not anti-fun. It's the
It's
fun
the fun
police.
police.
tool.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. And it's just ridiculous at times. I'm like, wow, like it sucks when I'm like, oh, I'm about to do this fucking cool thing, and all of a sudden someone just freezes me midair. I'm like, no, like this.
That's really cool. That's interesting. It like adds in an element of like mind games that weren't present in the game before.
Like the
That's
grenade
cool.
style. Like there's like because before there's 3 now too, and I'm curious if they're gonna add more. But finally got all 3 different ones, and there's just like one creates a sphere, one chases a person, one just creates a wall. It's all fun. It's great. I think.
Oh no.
I think it like Luke said, there's more CC capabilities with this class, but I think that's fine. It's all. I think it's just more fun in that like, oh, it's not just this increases damage by X amount.
Yeah, it's not raw damage. It's more utility.
Which I think
right
for like ability based like FPSs, I think that's kind of more important. Or I think it's just more fun because there are times when it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like. There are times when I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pop solar and just shoot them down because I know it's a one shot kill. But like,
yeah, no, I agree. I think like because like the main aspect of it is like a shooter, right? So that's where you do your damage. So if all your abilities do like utility based stuff, it makes it more like interesting.
And then new season, so far it's a lot better. It's a lot cooler. Like they actually have had a good cinematic, more story. It feels like it extends on to like what they're actually trying to focus on, which is the darkness, which I think is cool. And then they also they also kind of utilize, because before it felt like, oh, they had to create new stuff. While in this one, it's like, oh no, they're actually just utilizing the Forsaken assets. And I'm like, that's fine. As a person that didn't play Forsaken when it came out, it's just nice to like actually go back to that place, because that's what I think was the issue before, was the whole, oh, there's a bunch of empty planets that I just don't go to. So but I also think I like Forsaken and Dreaming City, or the Tangle Shore and Dreaming City a lot comparatively. So
just the look of it and all that.
Anyway, I'm having fun. That's all I'm playing. Literally all I'm doing. I mean, the same thing as Ian, but I'm like, I'm just catching up with Jujutsu, Haikyuu. That's it. Mandalorian, but otherwise, that's all I'm fucking doing. Guys, come back and rate. Okay, that's all I got. That was my pitch. It's not gonna work.
What?
Come back and rate. What? It's okay. That's my pitch. Don't worry about it.
Oh. Huh. Luke.
Funny story. While this has all been going on, I actually downloaded Ghost Recon Breakpoint because it's on sale.
Wait.
You son of a bitch.
Sly dog. But no, I haven't been doing
which one? Ghost Recon
Breakpoint. It's the newer one.
Oh, the one with the Punisher dude.
Yeah, John Bernthal. I think
it's like a huge sale.
It's Bernthal's. Yeah, the Ultimate Edition, which is $119, is I got it for $30.
What?
You could get the base game for $15.
Holy crap! That's a sale.
It's a pretty good. It's 75% off every edition.
Is this a SuperBoss gameplay?
But not like gameplay wise, I actually haven't played too much. I've been playing League because the new they overhauled items for Context Harrison.
Right.
And we were talking a little bit with our editor before this. It's kind of not fun.
It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fun to play a few games, but I think if I play more than 2 games in one sitting, I just kind of get annoyed because things are just kind of ridiculous. Like I mentioned last episode, I've been reading Nova, and I finished Nova because they canceled Nova like 7 issues in, and I'm super mad. It makes me upset.
No. Oh, I hate that.
So I've read all the Nova comics. There we go.
Damn.
So
Dang.
yeah, it kind of sucks because I like it's, and I even remember reading with the original creator for Nova. It was kind of an inspiration, or like it was an homage to the original Spider-Man in that it's like this new kind of quirky, geeky hero, kind of matching that, but also it was meant to be kind of Marvel's answer for the Green Lantern Corps for DC. And I do really like the Green Lanterns, but it's been rebooted like 3 times, and it just can never really get off the ground.
Oh,
Because the newest Nova line of comics, there's only 7 issues, so that was kind of disappointing. And then I found out like Kevin Feige apparently was planning, and maybe still is planning, a dedicated Nova movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I don't really know where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just in this limbo of like, I have consumed all, and now I wait.
But I want
I just
more.
hibernate.
Damn.
But just the random thing I found that I thought was really cool. The art director for Santa Monica Studios apparently is also a big fan of Nova.
Oh.
And so on his art station, he did his own concepts for Nova, and I just thought they were cool.
Damn.
So now I'm at the point of like, I'm just Googling Marvel Nova just to see if I can find other cool stuff.
Boys.
Watched Jujutsu Kaisen like we talked about. I know Ian's a big fan of them. Auntie Donna has their new Netflix show, which my girlfriend and I watched. It's definitely you can't binge it. It's
really
just once in a while.
Can't? Is it so long or
like? I
overloaded?
like Auntie Donna, but their skits sometimes go on really long, and like the more you watch it, the more it just kind of devolves into just like, I'm just watching these 3 guys do stuff, and I'm not really engaged. It's kind of why I like Cracker Milk on YouTube, a different like comedy skit group, because they're really short and they kind of don't really go where you intend to. Whereas at least with the Auntie Donna show, you can kind of pick up on like, okay, this is the joke or this is the punchline for the bit they're doing. It was definitely funny because we watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes, but like I remember like we kind of just finished watching like, yeah, we're done. We don't need to watch anymore right now. We've had our fill.
Okay.
Not to dissuade you, but like I feel like it's not something to binge because 30, 40 minutes of them is ridiculous. They do have a really cool intro, which is nice, but
hell yeah. So what is it? Is it like a special of 40 minutes or
what's up?
Like how is it split? Is it like just one long special or is it like episodic?
It's kind of multiple skits. There's like
within like the time frame.
So they try and like the very first bit kind of is the story for the episode. And then it's kind of like a 50-50 if the next skit progresses that storyline or it's just some random off bit.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious about how it's like how it's actually split up. Is it just one long 40-minute?
No, it's
skit
like
thing, or is
it's probably like 3 or 4, 5, 6 skits within an episode.
Oh, okay. So they do have it like split into different episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Although I feel like some of them are kind of old skits. Like the final one we watched, they did some joke about an Ellen DeGeneres type skit, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it before, but it's one of those where okay, it's 9 minutes and it's still going. We're still in this thing. But it's not. I don't think all of it is all original to the show. Like some of it I think is rehashed, but it's still really funny.
Hell yeah.
I think that's I've done other stuff. Like I'm really like So I'm in a book club, and we're reading this book that's kind of what's been dominating my time.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
and I'm not gonna bore you guys with a book. So,
I'm not gonna bore you.
I mean, it's like a 1,000-page
Oh,
book,
shit.
and it's just a lot. And I'm not gonna.
What's the book?
It's called Reamd. Reamd.
Hmm.
But it's a big book, and there's just a lot, and I'm not gonna eat up more time talking about a book that you guys are not gonna read. There's actually, so usually what happens next is we talk about a lot of cool news, if we have any. I feel like there's actually been a decent amount of news that's come out, at least maybe from what I've seen. I don't know. Do you guys have any other cool news to talk about?
No, I feel like there was a
Not
lot,
that I've seen.
but it all blurs at this point, and I've been kind of busy, so I haven't actually paid attention to much.
Yeah. So, like, Ian, do you have anything?
I mean, just Demon Souls. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head here.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, Demon Souls and Miles Morales have been out for a little bit, and people have been playing that.
Yeah, like
okay.
yeah, last week.
Man,
That's
so random gripe
Uh-huh.
I have, honestly, I guess about two. I'm not going to talk about Demon Souls. I want to talk about Miles Morales. I'm really excited to play it, but it's going to be really weird because they talk about they've had interviews with the studio Insomniac.
Yeah.
They purposely made Miles Morales move worse than Peter Parker to like, oh yeah, he's young. He hasn't been Spider-Man for 8 years, so he doesn't really know how to use his powers. And I'm just like, no, because some of the animations they use for swinging just like they look wrong, but they look wrong even in a video game, and it really throws me off.
Weird. Okay.
Are you gonna?
I'm still excited because I still
Are
want
you
to
gonna
play
wait till
it.
PS5?
But yeah, I'm gonna get most games we end up talking about moving forward. I'm gonna be playing on PS5. I just need to get my hands on a PS5.
Say.
But yeah, like Ghost of Tsushima and Miles Morales, I plan to play on the PS5.
Carl.
One of the things I want to talk about was, and it's mainly just kind of cool news. The three of us know this person on a like, oh, we watch their content. But Alana Pierce, who a lot of people know from Funhouse, but also a lot of people know she used to work at IGN. She's now a writer for Santa Monica Studios, who did the new God of War. And it's like, it's the one success story of like, this person made it. They in the big leagues now.
At least, yeah, very.
And apparently, like, because she, after she made the announcement, she was talking a little bit. Apparently, she has a really big portfolio of like short stories and skits and stuff that she never talks about. And apparently, that's a big reason why she got the job, is they were really impressed with her portfolio. I just thought that was cool because we've all seen her, watched her content.
It's crazy how much she does, though. Like a wide variety of shit that she does.
Yeah, she does a lot.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm really happy for her. And dude, I can't wait. I was just like, I know one of my friends, like he likes her a lot. And he's like, oh, I love her content. And then I'm like, hey, dude. And then I send him that tweet, and he's like, oh shit, time to play God of War again. I can't wait.
The other thing was, you guys still remember Immortals Phoenix Rising, right? That new Ubisoft game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys plan on getting that game? I'm just out of curiosity. We've like talked about it, but I haven't gauged if it's on anybody's radar.
I was thinking about it as like an option to, like, as another game. I was like, maybe. My only reason why I haven't is just because I'm like, all right, it's gonna be about the same time as Cyberpunk, maybe. So we'll see. But I was interested.
Yeah, I'm not so much. It's just not really my kind of.
Okay.
It's because
My
Ian
kinda
doesn't like
geek.
Breath of the Wild. Just putting it out there once again. But
I mean,
no,
he's
I
not
get why
wrong for
you
not
don't like
liking
it,
the
but
game.
you've actually played it enough. I could respect that.
What can I say? It's too open world for me, man.
Ian's got good taste. What can I say? Now, the thing I was going to talk about was they talked about their post-launch roadmap, which I hate that phrase.
Typical Ubisoft?
No, it's sort
Oh.
of. It's cool because of the content they're doing. They basically announced their it's like 3 post-game DLCs. And I thought it was really cool. The second one is, instead of, because Immortals Phoenix Rising is set in like Greek mythology, the second expansion is based on like Eastern, like kind of Chinese mythology. And it's like it's a whole new character, it's a whole new like subset, like I think a new area, new monsters and everything. And I thought that was really cool and kind of ambitious. But that looked really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I will look.
And then it's cool because the first one is just more of the game. They talked about you're doing like a different story or like a post game story. But the third one, it's set in the same universe as Immortal Phoenix Rising. It's still Greek, but it's a completely, like, you're playing a completely different character. And for whatever reason, the game is in this like isometric view, kind of like the new Darksiders game, if you remember that one, Harrison.
Oh yeah, I played it right before Destiny.
So yeah, it's like they just randomly made like a different perspective, whole new story type game, and I thought that was cool. Just wild.
Hey. Huh. And this is all with the year after, or is it just kind of like spread out more so?
It might be the year. I don't remember exactly. I think it might.
Or essentially next year.
I know at least some of it comes out like 2021. I don't know if all of it does, but that seemed really ambitious for me, and I thought that was really cool to point out. Like, oh yeah, we just casually made an entirely different mythology with a new character and a new story, and then here's another completely unique character in a completely different perspective of the game.
Huh. I need to look into this. Was this recent? I did see trending at one point.
I saw that video. It may have been like 2 or 3 days ago, so it's pretty recent.
Yeah. Okay. Check that out. Because I'm like kind of watching it, but also like I kind of want to just gauge how it when it comes out. Because I'm interested with like the game style, because it's kind of like pretty much like a Breath of the Wild style game. So I'm very interested, but I kind of want to wait.
I can definitely see my girlfriend maybe checking it out. So that's why I'm like, I kind of still have my ear on the ground about it, just to see like, oh, they did this, and then that's kind of the tipping point where my girlfriend ends up buying it. But yeah, cool. If that's all we have, I think we should jump into the main topic. You guys agree?
Let's go. And what is that topic, Luke?
All right. Yeah, the main topic is, it's kind of spurned on by, I feel like a lot of the Twitch streamers / YouTube content creators I watch have all branched out to play all these different types of multiplayer games, whether these like asymmetric multiplayer games or these horror survival games. So the topic is mainly about, do we think kind of is the growing trend in multiplayer games going to be more party-based and more casual multiplayer? Or do we still expect to see, I mean, I think primarily it is FPS shooters making up the multiplayer market? Or are we still going to see like the dominance of the MMO type multiplayer games? And really, like, I mean, in the past, 2 years, we've had Among Us blew up, Fallout Guys blew up, or Fallout Guys just was a thing. And then we're seeing, I know, I don't know if it's still really popular, but it had its day in the sun. We had Phasmophobia,
yeah.
And then we had In Silence, like, followed up very closely after. And they're all very different, but they're all kind of these more casual social multiplayer games instead of a mechanically intense MOBA or shooter. So I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on that topic.
I mean, I definitely think it's a product of the time, just because of COVID and everything. It's like I think people are looking for those kind of games because they're a way to socialize and interact with your friends and stuff.
Do you think these games would have blown up if there wasn't a pandemic / quarantine going on? I know that's a wild speculation, but just kind of ballpark.
I don't think they would have. I don't think what was it called? Among Us. I don't think Among Us would have like had a resurgence or I guess not even a resurgence. I don't think it would have blown up at all. Because I mean maybe I just don't see that happening though. Because it was out for like 2 years. I feel like it would have to take like a big thing for it to like blow up like it did.
I don't think Among Us would have with COVID, but I think Fall Guys probably would have. I think Fall Guys would have been fine. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
Because it still kind of touches on that battle royale.
Yeah, and we still
system.
have like that phase of like battle royales. Let's accept that it's like a thing now. So it hasn't been as big, but I think there's still games that are still kind of like touching on that aspect because people still like that. And I think with like Fall Guys, or with the ones that you mentioned, Fall Guys, Phasmophobia, I think, yeah, because it came out around Halloween, right? Roughly.
For which title specifically? Or you think?
Did I say that right? I forgot.
I'm pretty sure.
Or has that been out? I haven't kept up with that one.
That came out September 18th.
It was like, okay, that was like kind of timely.
So pretty close.
Kind of timely.
Yeah, about a month before Halloween.
But wait, sorry, what was your original question again? Was it like, would those be successful, or was it something else?
I mean, that was just an offshoot. The main question is still, do you think those type of party multiplayer games will become the new biggest type of game, or do you think, in terms of multiplayer, are we still going to have the FPS games and the MMOs take up the bulk of multiplayer games, I guess?
So,
because like, I guess I'll throw in my 2 cents first. I kind of feel like they are. Like, part of it is a lot of these games are meant to be like, I feel like they're almost meant to be enjoyed, not just playing the game, but even watching. You can have a lot more fun, whereas more traditional multiplayer games, they're not as fun to watch. But I feel like just the popularity in general of multiplayer, like traditional multiplayer games, and what I mean by that is FPSs and MMOs, I feel like they're kind of waning, just overall. Like, people, it's partly because Blizzard as a whole, Blizzard / Blizzard Activision, they've lost a lot of goodwill with their fan base, but the games themselves have kind of turned into very episodic releases, where you'll see a new release comes out, because I know the newest WoW release comes out in like a week or two, I think, and you'll see a huge resurgence in player base. Everybody's playing it, and then like a month or two later, most people kind of slowly wean off the game, except for the super hardcore. That's kind of the cycle of an MMO. And that's kind of how, with Final Fantasy XIV, the director like explicitly stated that's how he wants people to play the game, because he doesn't want someone to play the game 24/7. Like, the new release comes out, you get all you want, and you back off, and the new one comes out. And that's when you want to see the kind of rise in player base, then you'll see the fall. And with games like Among Us is still huge, and you don't see that kind of trend where people play the game a lot and they back off and then they come back. It's just, people are just always playing Among Us. And the developers just announced today that, hey, we're making a new map, which brings it to 4, which will probably bring up a lot of people who didn't play as much as they do. And with FPS shooters, I feel like it's just the ongoing trend in FPS shooters where they're either turning into or adopting major parts of games as a service. And that also tends to see the same effect as in MMOs, where you have content drops in seasons, and a few weeks or maybe a few months after that drops, you see your player base decrease just because they're done with all your content. So I kind of think, maybe not now or maybe not in a few years, but 5-10 years down the line, these party games kind of will overwhelm the others, especially because like Jackbox kind of came out of nowhere, at least from my perspective. Like I just remember, oh, we're playing this game called Jackbox, and then 2 years later they're on Jackbox 9 or whichever version they're on, and it kind of coincides with the rise in board games, because board games over the past 10 years have seen a huge surge into kind of just mainstream media, whereas the more traditional multiplayer games still kind of sit within the niche or hardcore.
I kind of disagree on sorry, you like said a lot, so I'm trying to like backtrack to where
Sorry, that was a lot of talking.
Fuck. So okay, so like the whole leaning towards like social games or like party games for instance, I think this is more, you see it more on Twitch, but I don't think that's indicative of like the player base as much. Like I see the I totally agree, like the popularity is up, and I think it'll stay. Like I'm not saying they won't go away. It's not gonna like be like, oh, now it's just gone. Like no one's gonna play it. No. But I think we just have more exposure to it. So I think right now it's more popular, but I don't see it happening for so long, because I think the one thing with party games, I will say, is more, you have to have that group most of the time, and a lot of people don't have that, or it's not consistent as you see on Twitch, or like you see YouTubers playing. It's because with that, at least I think it's just because they have that's social media. You can use like, oh, you can get other influencers or gamers like or popular streamers to just play that, and it's easy views. But a normal gamer, I don't think so. I can kind of see it to where, because I think in an everyday scenario, like for instance, when I go to work, I still hear people talk about Call of Duty, like, because they'll just play it, because one, they don't have to worry about playing with other people, they can just play by themselves, but it's still a multiplayer game, but they're not playing with their friends. That's just a big difference.
That's like the complete opposite. It's, I mean, prefacing the fact that yes, I work at a game studio.
I was gonna say, and I'm just like a normal company.
Like people I would never expect to play Among Us are really into Among Us. Like we have like 50-plus-year-old, oh, I'm the chief finance officer, and he kicks everyone's ass in Among Us, and it just like, you wouldn't see that with.
No,
I mean, I think part of it is, and it maybe that's what's skewing what I see, but like the accessibility in party games, I think, is what's gonna make it the most popular, because kind of like it's a weird tangent, but kind of like what happened when Wii Sports was released, and you see a huge surge in like, oh, people in retirement homes are playing it because it's easy and accessible and they understand what to play. I feel like with these more, I'm just gonna call them like casual multiplayer. These more casual multiplayer games are a lot easier to broach into mainstream media, because like, oh, you just, in Fall Guys, you just have to get to the end, and it's like a little obstacle course.
Yeah, I mean I'm not trying to say like they're not, it's not accessible. It's just more like, I don't think. Oh, as I think. Yeah.
Can I cut you off? All right. I think because of our like current atmosphere, we've seen an influx of these kinds of things. These kind of like party games. And I think it's more of like a trend, and it's something that has like gained like super high popularity, and I don't think it'll overshadow like it definitely won't kill other types of like multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I think it's like a trend that will eventually kind of fall, but I think I don't think it'll like ever go away. I definitely think that this is like it's become like a prevalent, like proven style of game that people make, and
yeah,
you know, like if you can make money off of it,
yeah.
it'll exist.
I think like to jump off of that, I think what Ian said was kind of what I was trying to say. Is it's not going to kill off like the like FPS or it's not going to overtake it. It's like, oh, this is like the big all like the big MMO or like big multiplayer games everyone's going to play. Like everyone. I doubt that. I think it's more it's like how everyone talked down about mobile games. I think it'll become like that kind of thing. It'll like the rise will be there, but it'll like stay. But it'll just be like an option for other people to play. Like I think it's just like a huge surge in like casual. I mean, I think it's always been on the rise in all honesty, because like for instance, let's say like with I think my best example with how it's just steadily growing is Minecraft. Like that's just a multiplayer sandbox, and that's also easy for some people to play too. So I think over time, it's just now there's just more casual games, I'd say, and I don't want to say casual. It's just more like more social, because they're not.
Yeah. I mean, both of those.
Because it's not. I'm not trying to like downplay it as like, oh, they're just simple. Like that's the whole pull is like it's easy to play. It's easy to like get a group to play. So I think yeah, accessible. Like I think if anything that it's gonna rise, but I don't think it's gonna overtake. I think it'll be like a huge facet later.
What's interesting about the whole like accessibility thing, I think, is that now we're growing up. Well, I mean, we're already grown up, but you know, we have a few. We have like. We and then the generations like younger than us are growing up in like this insane technology like period where it's going to be interesting to see like 50 years down the line what I mean that's a little far, so like the landscape might like evolve way beyond, but like I think you're going to see like a lot more older people enjoying these kinds of things. So like accessibility, yes, but I think we're also becoming more literate, I guess. Like my grandparents, computers are like, or when they're alive, computers were like, what? My parents actually have like some literacy, so like the older we get and the older younger generations are gonna have more of a grasp of like what's going on.
Oh, like more tech savvy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, and when you say like that, it kind of does pull into like how Luc was saying, like it's not now, but it'll probably happen later. It'll be easy. I think the fun part will be seeing what the let's say like two generations below us will like what they're gonna be like always talking about. Like for us, maybe it is just because for us we always talk about how our multiplayer games to us is MMOs and FPSs, so first person shooters. But for let's say like kids now in school, they're like, oh, Fortnite's like the thing. So to them, maybe battle royales are just more pro.
Is it still
a lot? It's sad.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious because I have no connection to that world anymore. The closest thing is I have like a niece and she likes ballet and musicals, so she's not a gamer.
I mean, I don't have that much either. I guess like Minecraft is the other easier one because they could just play on their iPads and shit. But okay. I think actually, the more I think about it, it's probably not social, but I think maybe more like accessibility with like where you can play it. Like,
oh yeah.
So like,
yeah, that's.
I think whatever multiplayer game like takes hold of like Like right now, it's like kind of a mix. Like it depends on your generation, but it'll be fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like thinking about it, like the multiplayer games that aren't huge anymore are like RTS. I'd say. Would you guys agree? Like real time, those are pretty
those are
dead
pretty
at this
niche.
point.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because
StarCraft,
StarCraft
Warcraft,
2 was probably like the
Command and
biggest,
Conquer has
like most recent.
Command and Conquer
Oh,
had something recent, but
you're right.
but they're also moving towards mobile. It's like that kind of thing. I think so.
I didn't know that.
Or I
Weird.
saw a big name RTS go to mobile. I was like, well, this is the future.
Huh.
Well, so it's, I guess. Do you consider something like Civilization to be an RTS?
Ah,
Or
yeah,
or like, would you consider Crusader Kings to be an RTS?
yeah. I would consider those.
I think it's just like different
Okay.
styles of the
Yeah,
same
because they're on
genre.
mobile
Yeah.
too.
I think your point still stands in that, like, yeah, those are pretty niche, but like, I think, or I guess they're probably the like lowest in popularity, but
They're
I
still
think
going
they're still
strong,
going
yeah.
strong.
Actually, yeah. Like
Sure.
they just transitioned.
Because like we just had Mountain
We
Blade
did,
Warband.
right?
Mhm.
I know a few years ago there was Pathfinder Kingmaker,
that was-
I think was the game, and that was actually like
That boom.
that saw a pretty decent
Yeah.
bubble of success.
Yeah. No, yeah, so I guess it's more there's going to be something that's always on top. Like for a while it's been battle royale. But I think right now it might just be like a phase of like social games. But that's also very broad cuz battle royales I can pinpoint while like party games and all that kind of there's a lot. But I think that's just nice that we have those games now cuz we've always had that issue. I think I've always had the issue of like, oh, like I back then it's like, oh, let's play Halo, but you can't just invite anyone to play Halo, right? It has to, like someone probably one has to like it, two is okay with playing it more, but then they'll probably stick with it. Like there's levels where it's like, oh, okay, there's steps for you to actually start playing Halo with me a lot. While I think now it's just easier to get someone to play Among Us, so maybe there's a boom because of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely also like a skill factor involved. Whereas like if it's Halo, it's the FPS. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I like. I could easily like someone could easily be like, oh, I like don't. Somebody could not like
Yeah.
FPS, right? Just because like, you know, it's something that you're not good at immediately, so it's hard, you know. Whereas Among Us, it's like
Tap
a
here,
few buttons,
do this.
and the rest of
Yeah.
it is all just social. Like, yeah, it most of
Yeah.
it is just
Who knows?
can I can I talk my way or can I
Yeah.
suss someone out?
Who knows? I'm trying to convince myself. I'm like, oh, maybe it will be the future. Who knows? We'll see. Because I'm like, that's the whole thing. It's so easy. Because like even my girlfriend, she loves Among Us right now because she's like, it's so fun because it's not hard to play. She doesn't have to worry about having like a crazy computer to play it. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But see, that's the thing is like I think so for me, like I enjoy Among Us, but not like I want something more engaging. I want something that's like more difficult to like mechanically and things like
See,
that. I want
so-
like challenges.
So here's
that.
like that. My counterpoint with that was, or here that was like a good example. What I was trying to say is, I think that's why the issue with party games is, one, you have to have people to do that. I mean, sure, you could just have like the general lobby, but that's not as fun, right? It's more fun with friends. But then beyond that, you want something more than that. So it's like, oh, okay, now I actually want to play a different game. You know what I mean? Which then ends up becoming like probably something else.
Kind of like in regards
Like you end up wanting to play like a solo player game or like a or just
right.
another multiplayer game. Like someone could
Well-
want some more complexity. Like which you could just do like an MMO or like a MOBA even because there's some more mechanics to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I don't.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
think
Yeah.
so. Like just the party social games is probably a good entrance, or just like now it's like gatekeeper. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. But thinking about it, I think one of the reasons I also don't think it's like going to like
No.
it's definitely not going to go away, right? But it's not going to like overshadow like I don't know, Call of Duty or whatever.
74.
Is because yeah, right.
God.
Or traditional like multiplayers like those is also because it's kind of like we're talking about. It's more simple in its mechanics, and it's something that's more accessible. So it's geared towards an audience, like a new audience. So it's bringing more people in to like the umbrella of gaming, I guess, but it's not gonna like take people away from Call of Duty or something else like that. So that's why I think like things will outlast or that's not what I was saying. I was saying it's geared towards a different audience than the people that are. And not to say that those two can't overlap as well, because, you know, somebody could like both and play both, but it just kind of depends. But that's the main reason I think is like it's just geared towards a separate audience. So it's definitely something that will stay for.
I think like it just solidifies like the genre or like the type.
Yeah,
but I think we also.
There you go.
Oh,
go on.
I was like, I think, like the biggest probably opponent to these kind of games is like a Call of Duty or a Halo, because like the population of those kind of games is ridiculous. But I definitely think, and maybe this is soured by the fact that I've been playing a lot of League recently. I'm just not having as much fun. MOBAs, I think, are kind of on the downward turn.
I feel like.
Yeah. Kind of same with BRs. Like Apex just had a new update, and Apex is still really good in my opinion. But we're not seeing new BRs, and I think that's kind of indicative of where the trend is going.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
they had their trendy time.
I'm like at this point I'm just gonna kind of throw out random speculatives, which might derail everything. So if we have anything else to talk about, because I was gonna say, like when you said, Ian, that these new multiplayer games aren't gonna be pulling from your traditional FPS crowd. I'm just trying to imagine, like, because I mentioned earlier how, like, you know, board games also saw a resurgence in kind of just the mainstream, which maybe is reflected in these new multiplayer games. But do you think at some point there's just going to be like, what if we do get like a legitimate functional Dungeons and Dragons like multiplayer game? Do you think that might peel away from that audience? Because like I still have a lot of fun with the game, but with Zombicide, like if they just made a video game version of Zombicide, one, I think we'd play it more and probably have more fun because we don't have to look at the rules all the time. But I can see those kind of games, like it's a level above Among Us, where Among Us is, you know, walk around, do stuff, and that's about it. But getting into the more nitty gritty board games and turning that into a sort of new multiplayer game. Do you see something like that potentially killing off? No, that's the wrong phrase. Do you see a game like that pulling FPS players, or do you think it's just probably not going to happen?
Well, if
and like this is maybe a specific question to you, Ian, because you mentioned like you like Among Us, but after a while you just want something more. Yeah. So I'm just like, what if the something more is XYZ, and I'm just throwing that out as an example.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, if they had like a Zombicide like video game, I would absolutely be on board for that. I don't want to like, I don't know, if it's like the reason I'm getting hung up is because we're using taking away from FPS players, and I think those are like two different games. Unless Zombicide is it.
I was gonna
FPS,
say
maybe
Zombicide. You could just do.
But it's like two different genres. So I'm just confused. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say Zombicide could easily be Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, right. I mean that had its own like popularity
for a while.
right? That was super big. I don't know. I just think it's like different. It's just different. I don't like I still don't see like I'm thinking about like why do people play multiplayer in FPS?
I need
It's
friends.
because sure. Yeah. It's cuz that it's cuz they want to yell obscenities into a microphone and no, it's like playing it's the thrill of playing a game against somebody, I think, right? I mean, there's probably like a slew of reasons why, right? But I think you have to like scratch that particular itch in a way. Where like in Zombicide, it's more of a like we're playing together, like a PvE. It's more PvE. So I don't think like people who really enjoy multiplayer in Call of Duty would see it as a substitute for Call of Duty. Does that answer your question at all?
Yeah, like yes and no. Okay. I think Zombicide was probably the wrong board game to use because there are like PvP board games, but I personally don't like them, so I can't like really think of too many. Because like you're not gonna have like, oh, let's play Settlers of Catan. You're not gonna have the COD Bros want to go play Settlers of Catan.
Right. Well, how about like Civ versus Settlers of Catan? I guess Settlers of Catan literally is just Civ, isn't it?
Sort of, a little bit
kind
like
of.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the other issue is like we're kind of just grouping people too, because like just like hardcore, just grouping, like, oh yeah, they won't play it. Because I know some people that play Call of Duty all the time, but they always are down to play like other shit. So
right. We're trying to like generalize audiences, but yeah, my idea was like I don't see it as it being like a complete substitute, right? Like I feel like the people who play Call of Duty would still go back to Call of Duty, or would still play it in tandem.
Yeah, I think that's more like.
I would be interested to see, since if like you said, if board games are becoming more I mean, we have already been seeing this a little bit, but if board games are becoming more popular, I'm interested to see if it'll be more there will be a more prevalent more board games will be made into video games. We've already seen that a little bit with what you got. What was that one game that you have, Luke? That became, it was like Hemlock or
what? Hemlock.
It was some board game that I think was card based.
Are you thinking of Gloomhaven?
Oh, okay.
Gloomhaven, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, although that's right, but it's kind of weird because the Gloomhaven video game is like different than the Gloomhaven board game.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a.
It's more of like it is an RPG set in the Gloomhaven universe.
Yeah. I see. Okay.
But I mean, you kind of have the
like
right line because like we have Tabletop Simulator, which I mean, you can emulate. Like I know people play Root, people play Warhammer on that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, that's true. We do have that. You got Monopoly.
Yahtzee,
You got
chess.
Uno on the phone now too.
Dude, what?
Oh my god!
Once they
yeah,
make
what was-
chess 2, it's over.
Chess.
It's
2.
over.
Chess.
Oh
too.
my god.
Man, that's gonna come with DLC and monetization.
There's
That's
got to be
spooky.
like they got to make chess 2 has to be like chess mixed with Go mixed with like some other Chinese checkers. Let's say that. It's just a trifecta of
Every piece you take, you have to play ERS to decide who actually gets to take the piece.
Oh my god.
Shit.
Each game just lasts 6 hours.
It's a game within a game. It's a gameception. Too meta.
2 Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I feel like we're kind of just speculating at this point. I kind of want to call it before we keep
Yeah,
ranting.
that sounds good.
If you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
Alright.
What was your do you think that these like party games are going to kind of like continue to
I
like
think-
grow and be like this overbearing
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Like, I feel like we're just in
Okay.
the infancy. Like, we have these very
Ah.
simple, like you said, like we have these very simple games.
Mhm.
Once someone kind of nails that sweet spot of this is a new multiplayer game in that it's like more sociable, a little more casual, but still kind of hits that competitive nature. I think that's where we're going to start to see really what this, like, what the genre can
Modded
do.
Minecraft. What are you talking about?
Mm.
Because, well, like, I mean, honestly, like, Minecraft is the biggest game, and it's just like we have a sandbox. I mean, we didn't even really talk about sandbox games, but Minecraft
Yeah.
is huge because it kind of just
whatever.
lets you do whatever you
Yeah.
want because you can mod the ever-loving
Yeah.
crap out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
But like with Among Us, it's basically it's Mafia or Resistance or One Night a Werewolf or whatever, just with like instead of cards, they're just things you do.
Mm-hmm.
And those games are really fun. Like a lot of people do play those like back when in the old times when people could get together in person. But once someone starts tapping into the more like the more hardcore board game, because hardcore board games get ridiculous with like the constraints they have are like limitless compared to a video game effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And once they can kind of like you kind of just bottle that up into a different kind of multiplayer game, I think that's gonna be the big thing.
Interesting.
I mean,
okay.
like, God, I'm running off on like 3 different tangents, but like with Cyberpunk,
Uh-huh.
that was originally a
Mhm.
tabletop game, and
Right.
so you can kind of see where like, oh, we have this tabletop game, which traditionally tabletops were limited only by your imagination, and CD Projekt Red just captures a little bit of it, and it, like people are going bananas over it, and it's a single player game. Like, imagine if you just opened up, here's Cyberpunk like not like how Rockstar does GTA multiplayer,
Mm-hmm.
but you had a deeper experience of a Cyberpunk multiplayer game where it hit the actual experience of the traditional tabletop, where you have corporations and like these really big factions, and you have real life players operating trying to sabotage each other. And it doesn't really fall into like an FPS. It's more of subterfuge and hacking, and it's just a whole different kind of game pops up.
That become
I-
what kind of MMO?
Yeah, that'd be a weird, spooky MMO. It'd be like Super Eve,
Mhm.
basically.
I feel like when you get into the more like complex board games, that's where you lose the like not ease of access, but
You lose the general. I think you lose the general.
Just the accessibility.
Yeah.
But
yes,
I think
that's the word.
that's
Accessibility.
partly where the video game comes in. It's easier when the rules are just hard programmed in, one, so you don't have to keep referring to the book.
I agree.
But
yeah.
it's being able to decant parts of what makes the game really complex and really fun, and because like the medium of a video game lets you do a lot, because you can just have on-screen tutorials, you can just straight up remove certain mechanics.
Right. And it's easier being taught something rather than having to like teach yourself.
Yeah,
and
like
read
there's
through.
no ambiguity when the video game tells you what the rules are.
Yeah.
Whereas with a
that
regular
is
board
true.
game, you have to interpret it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I'd be interested to see what
Especially, that just made me think.
would come from that. What?
Like if we talked about asymmetrical multiplayer games, they're not
Mhm.
really like a huge thing, but I mean you have In Silence was one. Dead by Daylight is one of the most like famous ones. But you
Mhm.
mentioned how in Zombicide it's PvE. You just make an asymmetrical Zombicide where you have 4 heroes
Yeah.
and one person controlling the entire horde.
Mm-hmm.
I would
They
that
kind of did that with Left 4 Dead, where
you
like
could play the
Yeah.
specials.
Yeah.
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 But like a whole horde, that'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
that would be I would play that.
I think they tried that with
100%.
Fable, but that failed. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
Fable
Did they?
project. It,
Which-
it didn't come
which
out.
Fable?
It failed. Yeah.
Oh.
They had
They-
the
they
concept
tried.
of that, and it just
Uh-oh.
didn't come out. It was probably too much.
If yeah,
Because that was the
If-
idea. It was like
'cause-
essentially you had 4 heroes, 4 people, and then you had the game master, and he controlled like the environments that the 4 players would go through.
Ah,
It was an interesting. It was very interesting, but it just didn't pan out.
yeah, that's cool. Cause so you would have the players, which would be they would be like
Yeah,
first
it would
person,
be like
or
third
or
person.
whatever, but
Yeah.
it'd be like FPS / melee first person.
The
thing.
game master would see the
and
whole board.
then the game master, if they're doing like a whole horde, it would have to be like RTS for
Yeah,
them
something
almost.
like that. Yeah, it's
That's
great.
wild. Somebody get on that.
Yeah, us.
Get on that, devs who don't listen to this
It's
podcast.
fucking complex, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'd play the shit out of that too, though. I agree.
On that note, I think it's a good point to wrap up. Unless,
Yeah.
we're
Let's,
gonna
let's
keep
wrap up.
rambling. I'm cutting it off now.
Cut it off.
Thank you everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. Any feedback, comments, suggestions, hate mail, you can send it over at feedback at SuperBoss,
Yep.
right? SuperBoss
Gmail.
feedback
And
what at gmail.com. I don't know.
honestly,
Harrison, tell me the
just
email
tweet us.
specific.
At this point, I'm like, just tweet us at SuperBossPod. I think that's easier.
Yeah. Or you could be that person commenting on our YouTube. You can just, we never read YouTube comments because they're toxic. But if it makes you feel any better,
absolutely toxic.
You can post it on our YouTube. It's just SuperBoss Podcast. We have our Facebook, SuperBoss Podcast. That's probably the one you might actually get a response from.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
No, other than we're probably
Nope,
off next
we're
week. So
lonely.
by the time you hear this, we're off.
You won't hear from us
Yeah.
again for a while. Thank you again for tuning in, everybody. We're signing off.
Goodbye.
Adios.